What's going on, guys? This video I'm going to go over my kids' Power Wheels and everything that I did to it and everything that I think that you shouldn't do to it, or what will happen if you do decide to do it and really talk about money wasted, and if you're gonna spend money upgrading these things, this is the right way to do it, I think, personally. So there's a lot of different types of Power Wheels. This actually isn't a Power Wheels. It's like a Kids Tracks or something. I think this particular Hummer goes for like $300 or so on Amazon. I picked it up for $100. Everything worked fine on it. My kid rode it, the first day, and was kind of bored with it the first day because of the 12-volt battery there. Shortly after that, at her birthday, there was 2 kids riding in it, and the motors burned up. So long story short, I went through several motors. They're cheap. They're like 15 bucks, eBay, Amazon, whatever. They're small, cheap, and they will burn up, especially if you're running higher voltage. Right after the 12 volt, the first 12 volt ones burned up, I thought I bought some somewhat better ones, but that wasn't the case. I did the 18 volt swap on one of the other videos I did with my Makita batteries, and they didn't last very long. The gears were stripping. That's a big thing with these. There's a gearbox, 2 gearboxes on the back. First gear always strips. So it's not worth your time buying gearboxes, motors. It's going to burn up if you go with higher voltage. If you stick with the 12 volt, you'll be fine. So if you're okay with the pretty lame 12 volt battery that these things come with, and your kid enjoys it just fine, then this video isn't for you. But my kid really got bored with it quick, and I was pretty surprised. I'd ask her when she got home, hey, you want to ride your Jeep there? And she would just say no. So I had to do something, and this is what I did. And I'll go over top to bottom pretty much everything, what I did here, and what I think, if you're going to, again, spend the money on it, this is the best way to do it. First thing is try to find one on Craigslist or eBay, something cheap, used, beat up, as long as the body's still good, because you're going to replace everything else. So really, we're just looking for the body. Specifically, if you get a Power Wheels, it's nice to get one of the newer gearboxes. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking for something cheap, just get the body, and then we're going to be replacing everything else. So right off the bat, this one has a forward reverse, and it had another switch right here that was a high speed, low speed, which burned up on the 18 volt conversion. So what I did is I still have the forward and reverse, and then I just added auxiliary switch for some lights that I added, which are here, and then just a little blue strip LED that looks like it's already burned out. But anyways, these were the important ones. So I got those installed. Just another switch there, that I wanted to put there for some headlights. While we're on the front here, I did notch this out a little bit to help introduce a little bit of air into where the battery's housed. That's not going to make a difference. You don't have to do that. I just did it because I was bored. All right, so we'll start with the batteries first. What I have here are 4 18 volt Makita batteries. These 2 are 5 amp hour and these 2 are 3 amp hour. Obviously, the higher amp hour, the longer the run time you're going to have. Underneath is the stock 12 volt, if you can see it down there. Underneath there is the stock 12 volt, which is in its factory location. There's 2 plastic tabs on either side to keep it nice and tight. And all that 12 volt battery does is just power these little lights. I was going to put some more lights in it, but I think that's fine for now. So that's all that battery powers now. These are all wired in parallel, so it's 18 volts across the board. In my earlier video, I just had these crimp connectors there that just stuck in there. I didn't really find a better way until now. What I did is I got keys. I have a bunch of extra keys, and I just soldered them on a connector there, and I connected all my wires together. These keys actually fit perfectly nice and snug into those Makita battery slots. So they're not going anywhere. That was a problem in the first setup that I had. These batteries, my cables kept falling off, you know, when she was hauling ass through the yard there. So while we're under the hood, I did put a, if you notice, I have a nice little tray that I built here to keep all the batteries in place, and I have this bungee cord also to keep everything from bouncing around in here. Also, this is a capacitor here. You can get this from ML Toys or anywhere on Amazon. That's to help basically for braking. When they let off the gas pedal, it doesn't just lock the motors up, it slowly releases the power from the motors, so it kind of winds them down instead of just cutting it dry, which should help your motors a little bit there, and it's better overall for your kid when they're driving. So it's kind of slowly coming to a stop and not just locking up the wheels and spinning out of control to a stop. Especially good when you're when you increase the voltage. You definitely need that. So let's go over the seat. I added a seat belt here. This is from bike seat that I had over there. I just took that off, and you definitely, or I definitely recommend having an over-the-shoulder seat belt, because the factory ones here, I don't know how yours are, but this is just a little lap belt that if they crash into anything, you want support over the shoulders there for sure. I put a screw right here because I got some rubber bands that just hold this closed. That's all that is, because this little tab busted off there. Now we get to the good stuff, what everybody's been waiting for. You'll notice that the rear wheels are a little bit bigger than the front wheels, and that's because these are off a F-150 Power Wheels. And this is what I'm going to get into here. This is the whole reason why I say do it this way. Just prop this up here. Because you're going to end up replacing motors, gearboxes, all the whole 9 yards. When you get into these Power Wheels, your kids are going to beat it up. Again, really, you're safe if you're running the 12 volt, but if you're going 18, 24, or 20, you need to do some modifications here. So anyways, what I have is the big 775 motors. I bought everything from ML Toys. I have the latest and greatest Power Wheels gearboxes. I have the steel first gear. And compared to what was in here, these things are like twice as big. You can already tell they're built way better. They gave me these little heat sinks. I don't know if they do anything. What I will tell you is, so we have a motor, gearbox. This is the shim for the wheel itself, and then there's a cap. Now this is where it gets kind of retarded, to me anyways, is that there's so many different wheel setups, and I had to really know information on what would work, you know, because I was looking for wheels, gearboxes, and motors that I could adapt to this body that I already had that was just, you know, not working. So I bought the, on ML Toys it says for the F-150, I think this gearbox fits a bunch of other models, but you'll have to research. But I selected the F-150 gearboxes, and then I ordered on eBay the F-150 tires, and then I ordered on eBay the F-150 shims. which connect. This is the driver, which actually connects the gearbox to the tire. And that's what I was, most confused about, is that I thought they all adapted to the same tire, but they don't. They're all set up differently, which is mind-blowing to me. The F-150 actually has a larger diameter hollow tube axle, and mine is I think like 5/8 or so solid axle. So I had to modify that a little bit to prevent my gearbox from kind of flopping around, because it should be tight on the gearbox when it slides over the axle. So luckily I had some of these little rubber bushings that I actually saved off my rear bumper there, and I ended up just drilling that out, and it slides right over my axle and sits right in this gearbox here, so it keeps my gearbox nice and snug. And then I had to screw this wheel cover onto the tire, which allows the axle to pass through it, and then to keep it balanced. So there's a little bit of modifications, but you don't have to. If you do some more research, you don't have to buy the F-150 wheels, which have the big axle. If yours has a smaller axle, then you should look at some of the other ones that have the smaller solid axle, and you wouldn't have to do those modifications. But lo and behold, I didn't know that until I got the gearboxes, and I was like, holy crap, these things are huge. So I don't know if it's just the F-150s that have the bigger diameter axles there, but that's what I found out. So anyways, what I got here are some zip ties. I think it looks pretty good before you say it looks ghetto. I got some zip ties that basically hold the gearboxes in place. They help support the motors, and they are tied together here to just really stiffen this whole thing up. I really didn't have any better ideas on supporting the gearboxes from flopping around. Before, they had a little metal bracket that the motor sat in, and that would allow it to kind of move a little bit, but I didn't like that, and it didn't work with the newer motors anyways, so I had to come up with something, and this is, to me, a simple, great a way to stiffen it up. They still have a little play, so it's not going to keep them like locked up, but it definitely worked out great. So that's what I got. 775 motors. There's a break-in period for like 25 minutes. You basically just want to run them without really running in the grass or anywhere else. So I had the 12-volt battery hooked up, and I just let them spin. I just taped the pedal down for like 25 minutes, it says, and that breaks in those brush motors. That's what the ML Toys says to do, so that's what I did. I'm looking to definitely maximize the life of this setup. I think I've pretty much bulletproofed this thing. I just got tired of letting my daughter drive it for like 5 minutes and then a motor break in or something. So these should last. This is basically the best you can get out there, and there's different levels. They definitely recommend getting the steel first gear if you're doing 18 volts and above. So I just went ahead and said, screw it. Normal Power Wheels, if you buy the higher end ones, you're looking at $400 or $500 anyways. So I ended up, I think total around $400 is what I spent. But you have to understand that I have the upgraded stuff, the best you can buy, and this should last the longest. And I can run 18, 24 volts, no problem. These motors are supposedly going to love that. So my daughter hasn't driven it yet. I'm going to let her get on it, and I'll do a little bit of recording on that. But I just wanted to give you a rundown of basically everything I had to do to get this installed. There was a lot of question marks on how the heck this is going to go together, so that's what I did. I think it turned out pretty good for the most part, and I'm excited that I can now sit out here and sip my whiskey while my daughter drives around for longer than 5 minutes on her Power Wheels. I never had a Power Wheels when I was a kid, so I wanted to give this to my daughter. She really loves driving it. And these things are quick. When I first put 18 volts on this thing, you could barely keep up with it on your bicycle. So excited to see what these new 775 motors are going to do. And again, I kind of like it. I thought these motors would be, or the wheels would be a little ridiculous looking, but it actually turned out pretty sweet. How it gives it a nice slight rake to it, and plus these tires, they have a lot better grip, it looks like, there if you're driving it in the yard. I did have to do a little bit of trimming, obviously. Professional there. Trim the fender up to make the wheels fit, but anyways, that's it. I'm gonna let her test it out and we'll see how she likes it. All right, give her a rip. Good. Everything hauls ass. You like it? Yeah? Is it fun?
Yeah.
Is it fast?
Yeah.
Lightning fast?
Yeah.
All right. Yep, all right, go ahead. Might have to do a little more trimming on those fenders, but I'm happy with it so far. Hopefully they last. They should. Took it apart. The steel gears definitely are needed when you're spinning the tires that much. Running me off the road over here.